Hello, hello. How are you today? This is Celia Faye Meisel coming in with a live video for you talking about, have you ever had a launch or event where the sales results fell flat? If you have been in the launch game, if you've been in the event game, chances are you've had one of those where the results weren't up to par. They did not hit the benchmarks that you were wanting to do. And after having done over 30 launches and virtual events in the last few years, I'm showing you some of the tools and techniques that I've developed after being on teams and experiencing some that they just didn't go according to plan. And so I want to show you how you can use that experience to bounce back and create phenomenal sales results for your future launches and events. So this is golden opportunity time. This is a place and an opportunity for you to make big transformations. But the big thing is that it starts here. It starts in your head with your mindset and with your thinking. So I'm going to dive into the content. Before I do, a quick introduction. I'm Celia Faye Meisel. I'm a strategic online sales and business consultant, virtual event and launch scale expert. I work with multi 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses to help them supercharge their sales results from their virtual events, from their launches, their webinars, all things sales. I have a methodology I've developed called the MORE method, where I help clients to make more sales with ease, have more growth in their business. There's 5 steps to that. And I have a live free virtual event coming up later this month on January 24th, 2023 at 2:30 p.m. Central. And I invite you to apply for that event. Apply to join me. It's by invitation only. It's a high-level, powerful training that I actually deliver to my paying clients. I'm going to be delivering and inviting audience members and guests in, but you have to apply. You go to moremethod.com/event. That'll show you what we're going to do, and you can put in your application, and that link is here in my name here on the video. So let's dive into the content. If your launch or event sales have fallen flat, how to bounce back, and how to bring sales in the door, because that's what we want. The first thing, you are the CEO and you are the leader of your business. And the first step is for you to take full responsibility for the outcome. You take full responsibility. You say, I am fully responsible for this, because it is so easy to fall into the blame game. You're going to blame your team. You're going to blame Facebook ads. You're going to blame your prospects' mindsets. You're going to blame the economy. I'm going to tell you right now, everybody wants to use the economy as a reason. Well, people aren't buying and blah, blah, blah. And, recession, this and that. And that is playing the blame game. That is blaming external circumstances for something that you can actually change and turn around if you're open to it. So taking that responsibility, it allows you to bounce back fast, because you are able to see difference. You're able to see and think clearly and see differently that you can't when you're playing the blame game. When you're taking responsibility, suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, I could have done this. I could have done that. We could have changed this. We could have dialed this in. And sometimes when you get into that launch and event mode, you go into focusing fully on all of the tech and all of the strategies and all of the stuff, and you get disconnected from the prospective customer. So taking that full responsibility gives you a lot of power and a lot of freedom to make changes and get that bounce back in place. But if you get into the blame game and the victim mode about it, it turns off your creative thinking mind, and your creative thinking mind allows you to create new solutions and see things differently and create new opportunities for yourself and have different conversations as well. So I want to actually talk a little bit about that in regards to performance, because I trained with a man named Tim Grover. I took classes with him. He was Michael Jordan's champion era personal trainer, athletic trainer, and he does mindset coaching and mental toughness coaching and training now. And one thing I learned from him was somebody like Michael Jordan, he had losses. He had games where he lost, but he didn't allow that to define him. He always came back. He always came back stronger, and he always took full responsibility for himself and drove his team to perform better. So you as the CEO, taking that full responsibility and taking that ownership ultimately allows you to have an influence on your team and drive them to perform better, to be better, to do better. And they look to your leadership style and play off of that. So if you're in the blame mode, in the blame game, they're going to do that themselves. And when I say take full responsibility, that does not mean beat yourself up. That doesn't mean go find what's wrong with you and try to find all these problems and things. No, not at all. Just taking that full responsibility for yourself and these results, it puts you into a neutral space where you can then create from. So that's what we want to get to, is a neutral space. And of course, if you're disappointed and you're emotional, like, have your processing time, but come back and get clear and get into game mode, get into back into, action, and get back into getting in alignment with those results. Because if you had successful launches and events before, you can do it again. They are repeatable, they're duplicatable. Now, we're out of the mindset, we're out of the performance, because as a CEO, that's always a factor, especially with your team and how you lead them and how you influence them. So the second point gets a little bit more into the tactical side. And I like to use the word responsiveness. I've played with the word proactive before, but proactive is sort of like looking to anticipating that things are going to go wrong. And so you're actively getting ready for things to go wrong. Responsiveness is looking with a positive attitude of how you can create transformation and how you can create a different result. So in responsiveness, you want to go into evaluating core areas of the launch and of the event to see what fell flat, what didn't perform, and how you can dial it in and make it better, so that when you turn around and you relaunch, whether it's the same offer or a different offer, you don't make the same mistakes twice. And I highly, highly suggest that you hire a consultant or strategist like myself to walk you through this process, because most business owners, number one, they're not going to take the time to do it, because it takes hours and hours to do a comprehensive evaluation and actually synthesize the data and put it into an action plan that you can use to turn things around and do the team interviews and actually put it in place, right? Because you can go have all these conversations with your team about what went wrong, but if you don't actually put it into a process and use that to create change, you're not really using your time effectively, right? You want to turn it into something that you can use in the future to generate a result. So the first thing, your offer positioning. Does it need to be leveled up? Has your offer changed significantly? Were there elements of the offer that just didn't land with the audience? That's the first area to look at. The next one is your targeting. Were you speaking to the pain points and the transformations of the ideal client that you wanted to attract in for the offer? Was your targeting on point? And you can always look at that and know, based on, this is the person that I want to get into the offer and into the program, and these are the people that were showing up and expressing interest. You can always tell if the targeting is off if you're not getting those exact right people. And the thing with targeting is it's not rocket science. What it is it's nuanced language and communication and making sure that you're speaking to the right people. And as your business evolves, as your offer evolves, as you evolve, that targeting, and I should also say, as the world evolves, that positioning and that targeting sometimes needs to be adjusted based on that. Our world has changed dramatically and significantly in the last couple years. And right now, we're coming out of the holidays and the time of year that we're in. So we really have to look at all of the factors play into that and make sure that our targeting is speaking to the right people and elevating. So this is a huge area of money that can be made, is in the targeting. The next thing is nailing your pitch. You want to review your pitch, Did you create the urgency? Did you nail the offer when you made it in the various places that you made it? Or did it just not land? Because sometimes if it doesn't land and it doesn't have that emotional buildup and people aren't excited about it and there's no buzz going for it, it shows that there's a disconnect again in the targeting, but also how you're making the offer and how you're presenting it. And also, did you show up as an authority and lead? You need to be the leader of your business, not only for the prospective clients, but also for your team, and drive them in to, to wanting to step into the offer with you. And sometimes what happens is if you've done something a few times and it becomes easy and it's like riding a bike, you lose touch with how it felt at the beginning when you were gritty and you were excited and it was all new, and you know what I'm saying? And so you want to be thinking about being in that authority and still holding that space. And look, if you've evolved a lot and if you've changed a lot since the last launch, and maybe how you presented it before and how you're standing in your authority now is different from what it was then, that affects a whole cascade of things within the offer, within the targeting, and all these different things I'm sharing about. So how your presence is a very real part of this. And then, of course, your copy. Was your copy effective? Did it speak? That goes into the leveled up offer positioning and the targeting as well. But did it really communicate and, speak to people? And was it effective in converting? And the last thing I suggest, these are all the evaluation areas, is to go through and interview your team and do some meetings with your team and get feedback of where things could have gone better. You want to look at the objections you were getting. You want to look at the profiles of the people that were coming through that didn't buy, the profiles of the people that came through that did buy. And you want to get that feedback from your team and then build a plan together of how you can move forward. And you want to have data in there, right? You want to look at all of the things that you do that you can track KPIs for. That's another element as well. But I'm telling you that if you do all of these things that I talked about today, go through the whole process of evaluating all of these different areas, and you do it from this space of full responsibility and full ownership of the result, you are going to relaunch. You're going to do another event, and it is going to be next level. Number one, you're going to be even more confident about how you're showing up and how you're presenting. You're going to take all of these lessons that you've learned and put them into use and create change. And things are going to be different. And so again, these are things that I help clients with. They're processes that I walk them through. But honestly, my whole core is get you into having a business system. A lot of times, all of this is happening because you don't have your offer positioning clear and you don't have your targeting clear. And there's all these different elements and they're not lining up. And if you're doing one launch a year, two launches a year, one event a year, two events a year, infrequent, and you don't have a system and a systematic approach, that is problem number one. Because if you go do this this full evaluation of your launch and your event performance, but then you're not going to turn around and launch for another 6 or 8 months, all of that information, it's not going to really serve you in the same way that it is if you turn around and you bounce back and you do another launch pretty much immediately, as soon as you can, whether it's the same offer or a different offer, turn around and do it again and take all that information. So having a business system in place that allows you to turn around and get better performance and get out there faster and launch more frequently and get this data and get this information, it will transform your business and your monetary results. Being systematic and being able to do things in a way that you're able to evaluate, that you're able to repeat over and over again is so powerful. I cannot emphasize this enough. And so if you are looking to have a business system in your company that you can scale to multi-millions and beyond, I invite you to apply for my upcoming 3-hour virtual event happening on January 24th. You can go to moremethod.com/event. It's here here in my title on this video, put in your application. It's application only to get an invitation. I'm very selective of who I let into the room. And if you're like, well, I'm not sure, go ahead and apply anyway. Put in that application. Again, it's free, and we can have a conversation to see if that you're a good fit to come into the event. I would love to have you. The event title is the Entrepreneur CEO Pathway from 300K plus to 3 million through streamlined, supercharged, high profit launches and virtual events. And I would love to see you there. Until next time, on the next live video, this is Celia Faye Meisel, strategic online sales and business consultant. Let me know in the comments what your top takeaways were. Do you do evaluations? Do you look at your performance? Do you take full responsibility for your results? Because that is a game changer. Getting into authority in your own life and authority with yourself is number one, to then be able to create authority in your reality with those people around you. All right, until next time, I'll see you.